The last email my brother ever sent me had one line in it. "Don't work the graveyard shift at that place. I mean it." He sent it 8 months after he died. I read it on a Tuesday, standing in the break room of the Marrow Bay Aquarium at 1 a.m., holding a mop, and I want to be very clear about something before I go any further. I checked the send date 4 times. It was real. It came from his real address, the one that had been closed for most of a year. And the strangest part, the part I still can't put down, is that by the time I read it, I already understood exactly what he was warning me about. I just didn't have the words for it yet. I'm not a superstitious person. I fix pool pumps for a living, or I did, before the company folded and I took the first thing that came up. I'm 41. I've never seen a ghost, never had a feeling, never once walked into a room and known something was wrong before something actually was. I say all that so you understand what kind of man was standing there. The kind who trusts the floor under his feet. I don't trust it anymore. Let me back up. Because if I just tell you the ending, you won't believe any of it. And I need at least one person to believe it. I took the overnight maintenance job at Marrow Bay in October. A mid-size aquarium on the coast, field trips during the day, corporate parties in the shark hall on weekends. My shift ran 11 at night to 7 in the morning, cleaning mostly. Squeegeeing glass, mopping walkways, running a checklist of 41 tanks to confirm filtration and temperature readouts were normal. Nothing that needed a marine biology degree. They gave me a ring of keys, a golf cart for the long hauls, and a laminated sheet of instructions. Most of the sheet was ordinary. The last part wasn't. It was printed in a slightly different font, like it had been added later by a different person, and it was a list of rules. 1. Do not clean tank 14 after midnight. 2. If tank 14 looks empty on the monitors, do not go check. 3. If the water is moving and nothing is in it, finish your rounds and clock out early. You will still be paid. 4. Keep every filtration system running. If a tank goes completely still, do not stop to look at it. Keep walking. 5. The feeding announcement only plays at 2 p.m. If you hear it at night, do not go toward the sound. 6. If a child is standing at the glass, they are not a lost visitor. Do not speak to them. Do not help them. Do not turn your back on them. I laughed. Alone in an empty building the size of a supermarket, 41 tanks glowing blue around me and the ocean somewhere behind the walls. I figured it was a joke the day crew played on the new guy. I'd worked construction long enough to know the shape of a hazing prank. My supervisor was a woman named Delia. I only saw her for the 10 minutes our shifts overlapped. First night I asked her about the list, grinning, waiting for her to grin back. She didn't grin. She was zipping her coat and she went still. One arm in the sleeve and said, "The rules are the rules. Follow them and you'll be fine." Then she looked at me a beat too long and asked, "You have kids?" Told her no. My wife and I had wanted them. It didn't work out. I didn't say all that. I just said no. "Good," she said, and she left. I watched her taillights go and told myself she was tired and I was reading into it. And both of those things were true and neither one helped. Here's what my nights actually looked like, so you understand how ordinary it was for the first 2 weeks. Come in, brew the worst coffee in North America, start at the far end, the tropical hall, all those little neon fish that don't seem to sleep, then the kelp forest, my favorite, a 2-story tank where the light moved like it was underwater even on the dry side of the glass, the touch pools, the jellyfish room with its slow purple wheels, the shark hall, the eels. I'd work my way back toward the front hitting all 41 tanks, and by 5 I'd be mopping the lobby thinking about breakfast. The rules faded into background noise fast, the way warning labels do. I kept the filtration running because that was my job anyway. I never heard the feeding announcement at night. No child ever appeared at any glass. And tank 14 sat in a short dead-end corridor between the jellyfish room and the eels. A bench, an unscrewed placard leaving 4 little holes in the wall, and a 15-foot tank with rocks and driftwood and water moving gently, and nothing in it. Day and night, an empty tank running full systems. I figured they were between exhibits, waiting on a shipment. I walked past it 40 times a night and thought about it exactly never. The thing that changed everything was small. That's what nobody tells you. It's never a scream in the dark. It's a detail. Marrow Bay had a security office off the lobby, a wall of monitors, 16 little black and white feeds cycling through the halls. I wasn't required to watch them. But around 3 or 4, when the coffee stopped working and my body wanted to lie on the tile and die, I'd sit in that chair 10 minutes and let the screens keep me company. Even the movement of water on a monitor helps. That night, one feed showed the Tank 14 corridor, the bench. Tank in the tank was full, not of water, of an animal. A dark shape that took up most of the glass, turning slowly. The way heavy things move underwater, unhurried, like the water was only a suggestion. I thought, oh, they finally stocked it. And I was glad. Honestly, I got up to go look, because who wouldn't? I walked the loop. Jellyfish room, purple and quiet. Into the dead-end corridor, empty tank, water moving, nothing in it. I stood there a full minute. I even put my hand on the cold glass, like the animal might be hiding behind a rock, which is a stupid thing to think about a shape that had filled the whole tank. Then I walked back, half laughing at myself, ready to see a fish. The monitor still showed a full tank, the dark shape, turning. Live timestamp in the corner, ticking, matching the clock on the wall. I'm a man who trusts the floor, so I did what men like me do. I found the boring explanation and held on with both hands. Faulty feed, old footage on a glitchy loop. I decided that so fast and so hard I didn't go back to check, which is the kind of thing you only realize later you avoided on purpose. It happened again over the next week, and I'll spare you the replay, because it was always the same shape of thing. Corridor, empty, monitor, full live turning. I stopped being able to call it a loop the night I timed it, walked out and back 3 times, and the monitor's clock stayed in sync with mine the whole way. One of these 2 things was lying to me, the tank in front of me or the tank on the screen, and I didn't know which, and both answers were bad. I started typing an email to Delia. The camera shows an animal in an empty tank. Then I stopped. How do you write that without getting fired? And I couldn't afford to lose this place. I'll tell you why in a minute. I deleted the email. I want you to notice that. That's the moment the rules stopped being a joke and became something I was choosing to ignore. Not with my body yet, with my silence. That was also the night I got the email from my brother. I'd sat down in the break room, rattled, and pulled out my phone just to hold something normal. His name was in my inbox, his actual address. Sent 11:58 p.m., around when I'd first sat in the security office. One line, don't work the graveyard shift at that place. I mean it. I've looked for every explanation. A delayed email stuck in a server for 3 years? Impossible, but I wanted it. A hacked account. But who, and why that message timed to the minute I sat down? I called the old number. It rang into a voicemail box that had been full for 3 years and never once emptied. I sat in that break room until sunrise, holding a dead man's warning, thinking about how I never called him back. I have to tell you about Sam now, or you'll spend this whole story yelling at me to quit. He was my brother, 2 years older, and for most of my life he was the person I measured myself against and came up short. 3 years ago, he stopped answering his phone, then his door, and then a landlord found him in an apartment I'd never visited because I'd been meaning to. They called it an accident. He'd been working nights at a facility down the coast. Some marine contractor. He was cagey about it, and I never pushed. He drowned in a maintenance pool. Slipped, hit his head, went in. Nobody around at that hour to pull him out. I hadn't spoken to him in 5 months when he died. 5 months over something so stupid I won't say it out loud, because saying it makes me want to walk into the sea. He'd reached out. I let it sit. Was going to call him back. I was always going to call him back. That's the wound, the unanswered thing. And when the pool company folded, and I saw a listing for overnight maintenance at a coastal aquarium, some part of me I don't like to look at thought, this is close to what he did. This is a way to be near it. Like I could clock into his last months, like I could apologize to a building. So no, I didn't quit after the monitor. Now you know. After the email, it stopped being subtle, and the other rules started to matter. Rule 4 came for me first. One night the kelp forest was wrong before I even reached it. No hum, no pump. I turned the corner and the whole 2-story tank had gone glass still. the water flat as a photograph, kelp frozen mid-sway, and on the wall monitor beside the door, that same feed showed the dark shape hanging in the still water. Turning. My feet stopped. I wanted to look. Keep walking. I made myself keep walking, and behind me I heard the pump kick back on with a shudder, like something had let go. After that, stillness started spreading around the building the way cold spreads through a house. A touch pool gone flat here, an eel tank silent there. Always with that shape waiting on the nearest screen. Always one room closer to the front. Rule 5 came a few nights later. 3 in the morning, and the recorded feeding announcement crackled over the PA. A cheerful voice. It's feeding time here at Marrow Bay. The daytime one, the one for children. Echoing through a building with no children in it, coming from the direction of the shark hall. And under the recording, almost too low to hear, something in the shark hall was moving water. A lot of water. I stood in the loop with my hand on the golf cart, and I did not go toward the sound. And the announcement played 4 more times, each one a little slower, a little lower, until it sounded like a tape dragging, until it sounded like it was calling my name in the shape of that sentence. Then Rule 6. And Rule 6 is the one that still gets into my sleep. I was doing the Tank 14 corridor on my rounds. From a distance now, never stopping, and there was a child at the glass. A little boy, maybe 6, palms flat against it, staring in at the empty water, in a locked building at 4 in the morning. Every human instinct I have stood up at once. He's lost, he's scared, help him. I took 1 step, and I remembered. If a child is standing at the glass, they are not a lost visitor. Do not speak. Do not help. Do not turn your back. So I didn't. I stood there and I didn't move and I didn't speak. And after a moment, the boy turned his head to look at me, and there was a fraction of a second before his face came around where I understood, the way you understand a stare that isn't there, that I did not want to see the front of that head. I closed my eyes. I counted to 10. When I opened them, the corridor was empty and the water in Tank 14 had dropped an inch, and I finally understood what Delia's question meant. You have kids? Thing used children. That was its best door, its easiest one. A lost child at the glass, and a good person who steps forward to help and turns their back. I don't have kids. I've never wanted anything the way people want their children. So it couldn't reach me through a child. It had to find another door. It had 8 months, in a full inbox, and it found mine. I found Sam's name in the building the next night. A supply closet off the maintenance hall. Filters, chemicals, and behind a shelf I'd never had reason to move. A stack of old paper shift logs from before they went digital. Years of overnight workers signing in and out. Ordinary names. Ordinary hours. And a run of entries. 3 years back in cramped back-slanted print I'd know anywhere. It's outrageous. In at 11. Out at 7. He hadn't worked at a research contractor down the coast. He'd worked here, at Marrow Bay. The overnight shift. The exact job I was doing in the exact building, and he never told me. And the facility that reported his drowning was 2 miles up the road, where they moved him, or found him. I still don't know what happened in the space between his last sign out and that maintenance pool. His last entry had no sign out time. Just S-rays, 11:00 p.m. And in the margin, pressed so hard the pen tore the paper. 14 is not a tank. I need to tell you about the last night, and then I need to stop, because I don't sleep well as it is. I came in knowing it would be the last. I'd decided to quit. I'd printed Sam's logs, folded them into my jacket, some idea of taking them to who? The police. And I told myself I'd finish one last round out of stupid loyalty and never come back. Every monitor was showing the dark shape when I walked in. 16 screens, 16 turning masses, in every room at once. Every rule breaking at the same time. The Tank 14 feed showed the tank half drained, the water down below the driftwood, the shape pressed to the glass and filling the frame. And I understood for the first time that the front of it was oriented, was pointed at the camera, the way I'd been pointed at the monitors. Waiting for the person on the other end to come look. I should have run. Instead, I did the thing on the sheet. If the water is moving and nothing is in it, finish your rounds and clock out early. I didn't finish my rounds. I went to Tank 14. The corridor was flooded. 2 inches of cold seawater across the tile spreading from the base of the tank, shocking through my boots. The tank held maybe a foot of water now, sloshing against the glass on its own like something big had just stopped swimming in it. The driftwood was gone, and on the inside of the glass, on the wet interior surface no human hand could reach, someone had written in the algae, in cramped backslanted print, "You came. I knew you'd come. You always meant to." And under it, smaller, "Don't let it be you next." I didn't feel fear there. The stone in my chest cracked open instead, because that was Sam's handwriting. And "you always meant to" was the exact shape of the thing I'd never forgiven myself for. The meaning to, the never calling back. And I understood, standing ankle deep in cold water at 4 a.m, that whatever lived in Tank 14 wasn't an animal. It reached into a person and found the unanswered thing they carried. And it built a door out of that. A child, for most people. For me, a phone call I let ring out. The water went still. A shape rose in that last foot of water, slow, heavy, and pressed a hand to the inside of the glass. 5 fingers. The scar on the thumb from a childhood bike chain. It was my brother's hand, and behind the glass, in water no man should breathe, my brother looked out at me with a face that was almost his, and mouthed one word: "Stay." Then the mask slipped. The face didn't change all at once. That would have been kinder. It deepened. Sam's eyes stayed open under the water and did not blink and did not stop, more of them opening below the first pair, and below those, a column of eyes going down into the throat, all of them looking at me. And the mouth came open, and inside the mouth was not a mouth. Inside was the corridor, the bench, the tank, and a small figure standing at the small glass. And inside that glass, another corridor, another bench, another me, repeating down into itself forever. Every one of them turning to look back out. It moved toward the glass, closer, filling it, and its reflection in the wet floor moved the other way, away from me, so that the thing in its shadow pulled apart like something being unzipped from the world. I ran. I don't remember the loop. I remember the parking lot, the cold, my hands shaking so hard I dropped the keys twice. I remember the coast road, the sun not up, the sea on my right, black and breathing. My phone lit up as I drove. One new email, his address, sent 4:14 a.m. the minute I ran. One line: "Good, now don't come back. It only knows the door you came in through." I quit by voicemail. I never went back for my last check. Weeks later I called Delia once, to have one other person tell me it was real. She let me get 3 sentences in, then said, very quietly, "You have kids?" I said no, same as before. She said, "That's why it let you leave. It never got a proper hold." And she hung up, and the number was disconnected the next time I tried. When I drove past the exit from Marrow Bay a month after that, there was a sign for it. There was no road. I don't work nights anymore. I don't go near water. I moved 3 hours inland, and I sleep with the lights on like a child, and I've made my peace with that. But last week I got an email, his address. I almost didn't open it. I've built a life out of not opening it. I did. No message this time. A photo. Grainy, black and white, the kind a security camera takes. A short dead-end corridor, a bench, a 15-foot tank, water moving gently, and a man standing in front of it with a mop, looking at the glass. Some new hire. Some other guy who trusts the floor under his feet, working the graveyard shift at a place that, as far as any map will tell you, does not exist. The tank behind him is empty. The timestamp is tonight. I've been sitting here an hour with the reply box open. I keep telling myself I'll warn him. I keep meaning to. The cursor is blinking, and somewhere in the house, very faint, down the dark hallway where the lights don't quite reach,